Hi guys, it's Cinderella again and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hello. Today's video is a little bit different. So I recently uploaded a tag which was called like the eyeshadow collection tag or something like that. That was created by Allie Glines, and then Jessica Braun also did it. So it was like both of them influenced me to do it. So then Jessica Braun, not too long after, uploaded a version of that but all about her lip products. And I was like, let me do my foundations because that's something that I'm more into. I actually think I'm going to do the lip products as well. However, I thought, let me change around some of the questions and create kind of a different tag, but using the same format and the same type of questions, but relating it more to foundation. So yeah, guys, I really hope you enjoyed today's video and let's get started. Hi guys, so my newest foundation in my collection is this here. So this is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation. I haven't tried this yet because I'm kind of waiting to build up a little bit more of products that I'm buying here and there to do like a first impressions or a haul or something like that. I'm actually really excited about using this because Kathleen speaks so highly about this foundation. So I really wanted to try it, and I was going to buy it ages ago, but I just thought, no, I don't need any more foundations. And then I bought it. So yeah, this is my newest foundation. And then on the contrary, my oldest foundation is this one here. So this is the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation and concealer. This foundation is definitely my oldest in my collection that I still have. I've had this foundation since 2016. I should throw it away, and I don't really use it, to be honest, but I just haven't. And obviously, luckily enough, I haven't because obviously I needed it for this tag. And yeah, it's actually a really good foundation. It's just a very full coverage matte foundation. The color is very off for my complexion, so that's another reason I don't use it. As you can see, it is a lot deeper than my complexion. So even if I do want to use this, I would have to mix it in with a lighter foundation or my whitening drops. So yeah, it is a good foundation. It is one that everyone used to speak about back in the day, and yeah, I do like it. It's still in my collection for that reason. So my most expensive foundation in my collection is this one here. So this is the Marc Jacobs Remarkable foundation. I've got the shade 12 Ivory. This is a very, very full coverage matte foundation. Like, you do not need a lot of this foundation at all. I use this more nowadays as a mixing foundation rather than a foundation that I use alone. It is quite light for me, so I can't use it alone anyways. And this actually cost me £37. So yeah, it's my most expensive and a foundation that I don't use often, but I do like having in my collection anyways. So my most affordable foundation is this here. This is the Revolution Stick Foundation. This is in the shade F7. This is an absolutely stunning foundation and it only costs £4. It is an extremely dewy foundation. I love it on my skin. With this foundation, I only really like using it in the winter or when I'm only going out for like a couple hours, just because it doesn't last too long on my skin because I do have like oily skin, and it blends really easy as well. Even if you want to blend it in with your hands or your beauty blender, it blends really easy, so you could do that. So my everyday foundation, this was a bit hard because obviously I don't wear makeup every day, but if I was to wear foundation every day, I would want something super light coverage, something that even if it like breaks apart, you can't really tell. And I don't really have foundations in my collections that are like every day. However, the foundation that I thought I would use, and I would probably most likely mix in with my moisturizer, is the NYX Bare With Me Skin Tinted Veil. This I have used for like quick appointments and stuff like that. It kind of is like an everyday foundation for me because when I'm just running errands, I have used this in the past. So for me, it would be this one, my everyday foundation. This is an absolutely stunning, stunning BB cream, CC cream. It does describe itself as this tinted skin veil. However, when you hear that, you would think it's going to be like hardly any coverage. But no, it actually does have a lot of coverage. So next is favorite foundation as of right now. So for me right now, my favorite foundation is this. This is the Maybelline Superstay Foundation in 10 Ivory. I've spoken about this a lot on my channel. This has been a favorite for a long, long time, more or less since I bought it. I've used this a lot because it's such a good foundation. It's a foundation I'm wearing right now. It holds up so well with my oily skin, and it doesn't look heavy, it doesn't look cakey, it looks more like skin light, even though it leans more matte. And yeah, it's definitely a foundation that I feel like even when I do run out, I will go and repurchase it. This is just a holy grail product for me, and I know it doesn't let me down. And yeah, I highly recommend it to people who have oily skin rather than those who have dry skin, because I don't know how it would look on dry skin, especially if you have like dry patches, but on oily skin, Chef's kiss, as some would say. So next is a foundation that is worth the hype. This one was quite hard for me to think about just because a lot of people that I watch, they have different like skin types and products that they like and stuff. So for me, worth the hype is a product that I've heard a lot of people speak about, and as of right now, I can't actually think of the people that have spoken about this foundation, but I know a lot of people did. So the foundation I'm actually talking about is by Flower Beauty. It's the Flower Light Illusion Foundation. I've got the shade Nude Elf Free. I heard a lot of people speak about this, and like all the people that I like and I like their recommendations of foundations spoke highly about this, and it is an absolutely stunning foundation. However, if you have extremely oily skin, I don't know if you'll like this. I have oily skin, but I still love it because I do like a dewy, natural looking foundation. And this is extremely dewy, but I don't really mind that because I know what I'm getting with this foundation. Like, I know the formula, I know the texture, I know that I'm going to get oily, but it doesn't actually break apart. It just does allow your oils to come through because it is more of a dewy foundation. So yeah, for me, it's an absolutely stunning, worth the hype type of foundation. So a foundation that I don't think is worth the hype, I actually don't have on me because I decluttered it ages ago, is a Wet n Wild foundation. Not the dewy one. I have never tried the dewy one, but it's the original Wet n Wild foundation. I don't understand the hype. It does not look good on me. I just remember being so disappointed in it because everyone was speaking about it so highly, and then I tried it and I was like, what are people talking about? But obviously I do get that like people have different skin types and different concerns and stuff, so obviously it would work for one and won't work for me, like another like me. But for me, to me, it was not worth the hype. So foundation that has the most coverage, again, is this. I've spoken about it already. The Marc Jacobs Remarkable Foundation is literally one of the most full coverage foundations that I have in my collection. I don't recommend using it alone because it will look like a mask. This is a foundation that I love mixing because how full coverage it is. Okay, so the next one was a foundation with the least coverage. This one was really hard for me and I really had to look through all my like foundations, and I generally couldn't find anything in my collection that had like the lowest level of coverage. I don't really have foundations that have light coverage. I feel like most of the foundations in my collection have like at least a solid medium. However, when I was thinking about what I've had in the past, I remembered the Bourjois Healthy Mix foundation. This foundation had such low coverage. The colour was off for me. I really didn't like the formula on my skin. And that one was definitely the least like coverage foundation that I had in my collection. Obviously, I don't have it in my collection anymore because I did declutter it because it just didn't work for me. Okay, so next is favourite foundation from my favourite brand. So obviously, I have two favourite brands. I have the Revolution and Hourglass. So Revolution, I've already spoken about with the stick foundation. That definitely is like my favourite foundation from Revolution. So I've only tried one of Hourglass's foundation and it's this one here. It's the Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation. I do like this foundation. I think the reason why I don't use it as much is because the colour is like really off for me. So I just don't use it as much because it is a stick formula. It would be harder to mix in to make it my colour, if that makes sense. But once I've used this up, I am going to try and repurchase it in a lighter tone because I can always deepen it up a little bit. But lightening a stick foundation just doesn't work. So yeah, that is my favourite foundation from my favourite brand. So next is most used foundation. No surprise at all. It's the Maybelline Superstay foundation. I use this more or less every time I wear makeup. I will mix this in with other foundations. I've almost run out of this. It doesn't look like it, but I actually have. Yeah, it is my most used foundation. Every time I do my makeup, I more or less use this. Unless I know I'm only going out for 4 hours, I'll use like a BB cream or something because I don't need it to last that long, but this is definitely my most used foundation. My least used foundation is this. This is the PS My Perfect Colour Glow Foundation. This cost £6. I got the colour Cool Sand from Primark. I feel like I've only probably used this about 3 times. If I remember correctly, this foundation was matte and it says it's glowy, and that's why I bought it. I thought, ooh, a glowy foundation, let me see if I like it, and then it's matte. But yeah, I don't really actually know what I think about this because I haven't used it as much. So yeah, this is my least used foundation. So for most underrated foundation, I would say it's this one. This is the Misha Perfect Cover BB Cream. I literally only hear Jessica Braun talk about it, and I really like this, and I feel like more people would like this if they heard about it. Also, the shade range is atrocious, so I feel like not even a lot of people could try this out even if they wanted to. For me personally, out of all my collection, I feel like this is the most underrated. because most of the foundations I'm talking about or have in my collection, a lot of people have spoken about once upon a time. So for me, it's underrated because there's only one person that I hear speaking about it on YouTube, and it's Jessica Braun. So next is most nostalgic old school beauty YouTube. So when I think of like old school YouTube, when I think of like what I used to watch, what people used to talk about, I generally think of this foundation, which is one of my favorites. It's the LA Girl Pro Coverage HD High Definition Foundation. And this is one of those foundations that I heard so many people speak about, and I love it. It's one of my favorite foundations. It's honestly one of my go-to foundations. To me, this is up there with Maybelline Superstay. It's such a stunning foundation. This was a very spoken about product back in the day on YouTube because a lot of people used to compare it to the Makeup Forever HD foundation. I've never tried that, so I don't know if it's a dupe or not. Okay, so most disappointing foundation. I would have to say it's this one here. This is the Revolution Conceal and Hydrate Foundation in the shade F7. I was so excited about trying this. Like, honestly, I thought this was going to be like my go-to foundation. People were speaking about it so highly. I heard Taylor Wynn not too long ago say it was like a dupe or very similar to the NARS Longwear Radiant foundation or something like that. I was like, yes, I'm going to love it. And then I first tried it and I was like, what the heck is happening? It was atrocious. Like, it looked horrible on my skin for like at least the first 4 times I used it, and then recently I retried it and it looked really good. I was like, what's happening? Is something happening? And yes, I would say that it was the most disappointing because I was so hyped up for it and I really thought it was going to be such a stunning foundation on me, and it just definitely wasn't. It's not my go-to foundations. I actually think it looks very pretty on the outside of my face, but anywhere near like my fine lines or like my mouth or nose area, it looks not that great. However, compared to the first time I tried it on camera, it looks 10 times better than that. So to me, it's most disappointing because I had such high hopes. And then when I first tried it, I was like, what? I had to take it off because it looked so bad. Okay, so most natural looking foundation. The first one I'm going to talk about is the Max Factor Healthy Skin Harmony Foundation. This literally does look like skin on me. This is one of the most natural looking foundations in my collection. So because it is in my collection, I wanted to mention it, but you can't buy it anymore. So there's that. The second one is this one here. This is the LA Girl Pro Coverage Foundation. This to me is super natural looking, even though it has very good coverage. It looks very beautiful on the skin. It just looks like skin on me. So yeah, this to me is a natural looking foundation on my skin. So best smelling foundations. This was really hard because I just was going around smelling all my foundations, and I realized that foundations really do smell bad. I don't know why, but most smell really bad, like paint. But my best smelling foundation is by far a Max Factor Healthy Skin Harmony Foundation. It smells so good. Like, maybe we shouldn't have fragrance in our foundations, but that's the thing. It does not smell bad at all. I know you can't get this anymore, but I did want to mention it because it literally is the only foundation in my collection that actually smells nice. Like, all the rest don't smell that great. And then the worst and strongest smelling foundation in my collection is by far the Marc Jacobs foundation. This smells so strong, but like, it kind of gives me a headache. You don't smell it on your skin. I don't understand why these foundations have to have smells, and even when they do have smells, why do they have to be so intense? That's borderline giving me a headache. So best packaging, best looking foundation to me personally is the Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation. You just can't beat this kind of like look of a foundation. It feels heavy, it looks pretty, the colour's stunning. I really love the look of this. It's so sleek looking. It looks expensive, it feels expensive. I really like the packaging as well. And it was hard because most foundations just have more or less the same packaging, so it's kind of hard to think about like what's the best looking foundation, but in my opinion it's definitely this one from Hourglass. So foundations with the most matte finish. I've already spoken about the Marc Jacobs foundation. This is one of the most matte foundations in my collection. However, I did find the L'Oreal 24-Hour Matte Foundation. This is extremely matte. I don't like it. It's not for my skin, but it is, if I remember correctly, a very matte foundation. And obviously, if you have oily skin like me, you'd probably really like this, but I just can't get on board with it. It's not a foundation that I like. So yeah, it is a very extremely matte foundation. So yeah, I did declutter it. So technically it's not in my collection, but I still had it. So lastly, my most dewy foundation is definitely the Flower Light Illusion Foundation. This is extremely dewy, but I love it, but it is extremely dewy. Another really dewy foundation is the Revolution Stick Foundation, the L'Oreal Stick Foundation. So yeah guys, that is my foundation tag. I really hope you enjoyed it. It obviously is a little bit different to the original tag that Allie Glines made and then Jessica Braun done as well. But yeah, I just really enjoyed their tag that I kind of wanted to do my own little spin on mine. I'm going to do a version of this but for my lip products. I really hope you enjoy that too. If you did enjoy this, please remember to give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Join the fam, please. I would really appreciate it. And I will see you next time. Bye guys.